Hey everybody, it is Margaret and welcome to my channel, Texas Gal Treasures. My channel is all about expanding your knowledge to create new opportunities for yourself and your business. And the expanding of the knowledge we're going to be tackling in this video is cameos. But before we get started, go down there and hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it if you're interested in getting notified when I go live or when I put up new videos. Okay, cameos. There are new ones, there are antique ones, there are vintage ones. They're made from all different kinds of materials, and you may have questions about what they're made of, how to tell what they're made of, how to tell if they're old, and we're going to tackle those questions in this video. So I'm going to start with, what is a cameo? What can be technically classified as a cameo? Can there be fake cameos? So this is from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. A cameo is a gem carved in relief, especially a small piece of sculpture on a stone or shell cut in relief in one layer with another contrasting layer serving as background. And the second definition of cameo that fits our purposes here is a small medallion with a profiled head in relief. So, that being said, we're looking at things that are carved from one piece generally, that are made from shell, stone, something like that, with a contrasting color, or a small medallion with a profiled head in relief, which means it's set apart. So I'll be sharing some cameos that I've got as we go along, and I'll also be showing some different websites that I've been getting some of my information from, and I'll link those below because I'm a big believer in no one person knows all things, so I'm definitely citing my sources. So if there's anything that you hear me say that you think is not quite right, leave me a comment because I want to make sure I'm giving out great information on the channel, but I will cite the sources where I am finding my answers to the different questions about cameos. All right, what can cameos be made of? This is from a site called Jewelry Shopping Guide, Cameo Jewelry Guide, and I'll link that down below. The main giveaway would be the material of the piece. Generally, authentic cameos are made of natural materials such as onyx, sardonyx, agate, ivory, lava, coral, and other gemstones. While authentic painted cameos are typically made of porcelain, a fake cameo, or inexpensive reproduction, is made of plastic, glass, or resin, and that's quoted from their website. So if I had a cameo that was plastic, glass, or resin, I could still label it as a cameo, but it might be considered more of a reproduction. So if someone were going to search for that, if I were selling cameos, they could still find it under cameo. So how are cameos made? So authentic cameos are made from shell or stone, and they're carved down to reveal the stone underneath. So there'll be a white or light colored shell on top usually, and then as the shell or stone is carved down, it reveals the darker color underneath. I'm going to include some links down below sharing some videos from YouTube of master carvers working on cameos, as well as some different ones where they're showing how they make resin cameos as well. So if you're looking at like, how do I know if this is a resin one? How do I know if it's carved out? So you can see the difference between how a resin or faux cameo is made versus a real shell or stone cameo. All right, so let's take a look at some of the cameos I've got. So this cameo I got from a jewelry jar. This one is vintage. It is made from shell. And you should be able to tell when you've got a shell cameo, when you flip it over, you should be able to see the curvature of the shell in the back. And I'll insert some pictures if it's hard to see, but you can see how the light catches that curve. Also along the edges, when I look along the edge, you can see that the metal is not just a formed piece like on this one where you can see it straight across and that piece is just set into that setting. This one has been formed to match the cameo's perimeter. So it might come up a bit on this end and then it dips down along the edge. So this one I found in a jewelry jar, just the last jewelry jar I did. So another thing to look for if it's vintage can be how it's set. This one is definitely vintage. If it's older, sometimes you'll have a pin that has like maybe a C-clasp, or if the pin extends out further than the Cameo, I'll see if I can find a picture of one, then it will indicate that it is a vintage piece as well. This one was marked 800, which is a silver mark. So also on this one, you can see, there's enough light where you can see through the shell, which is a good indicator if you hold it up to the light that you should be able to see through the Cameo to the relief on the other side. This one was my grandmother's, and this is an older Cameo as well. This one is shell. Now the setting isn't quite the same on this one. You can see it's set into these prongs along the side, but you can see how it dips and curves, and then again on the back you can see the curvature of the shell, also some variations in color. And then let me pull out one more over here. But this one is more of a white and then like a light pink, but you can see again along the edges how it is dipping and curving and forming in the shape around the Cameo as it is set. And then this one has got a really nice hook or loop to hang it from a pendant. And then just the quality of how it's set in there. You can see the different variations in the shell. You can see how it curves, how it's being held in place. This one I got at a garage sale for $2, you guys. So they're out there. You can totally find them. So those are 3. So another thing to look for with real vintage handcrafted Cameos is if there are marks on them for where the tool would have carved away at it. They should be pretty smooth, but you should still be able to see marks where the tools have, you know, scraped down and carved down. And I'll link that video of a carver creating Cameos so you can see what kind of tools they use and what it would look like to see those markings. Sometimes you might have to use your loop or a magnifying glass to really take a close look at it if they're done really, really well. I wanted to share that because as an example, these earrings that I've got, which, I mean, I think these are made from a natural material, but what I do see, which I'm not sure you're going to be able to see, I'll try to insert a picture, is that the chin and the nose are super duper duper pointy. Let's see if you can see it on this one. They're like extremely pointy. So that would be an indication that they were maybe created with a laser, like laser cut. And generally with their hand carved, the features will be a little softer, a little more rounded. And then also, when you're looking at older ones, you'll be able to tell the age by the shape of the nose. So let me find that real quick for you. So they say that portraits that have a strong Roman nose are dated from the 1860s, and noses that are more cute or button-like are newer and maybe 21st century noses. Portraits that the Cameos have a straight nose are usually from the Victorian era, it says. So you might have to Google what a Victorian nose or what a Roman nose looks like. But like this one, if you could see it, I'll have to insert, she's got more what I would consider like a Roman nose. So I'd have to do a little more research on this one. I'm gonna have to insert a picture because it's too hard to see with her. Also, another thing to look at is the hair and then the direction that they're facing. That's something else as well. So when you come across a Cameo, you'll have to Google search how the hairstyle is for different eras, and it can indicate the time frame from which it was made. Also, finding a Cameo that is left facing is rarer than finding them facing right. Most Cameos are right facing. Alright, so I'm going to share some of the other Cameos that I've got to give you some comparison. These ones I believe to be laser cut because of the chin and the detailing. This is another Cameo this was my personal one that my grandmother gave me. Okay, the next one is a fake Cameo. I mean, I would still label it as a Cameo, but it's not hand carved, it's not shell, it is a resin. And then also a big indicator is when you flip it over, it's closed on the back. So if you find one that's closed on the back, if these were closed on the back, you would know that it was not going to be real shell, or stone, because you wouldn't be able to hold it up and see the light through it or find the cracks in it if there were cracks. Okay, they're still fun pieces and there's still people who enjoy them. But that one is not a shell cameo. So this one is a resin. Now another way to tell is by picking them up and feeling them. So if I hold it in my hand as compared to a real cameo, a shell or a stone, when I hold them in my fingers, the shell cameo is going to feel cold to the touch, and the resin or plastic, other material, is going to feel, it might start off as cold, but it'll warm up. So as I'm holding them, this one definitely feels cooler, colder to the touch, whereas this one does not. So there's this one. So let me flip this one over. This is the back, and then you can see it's just a flat piece that, yeah, is just set in there. So pretty interesting though. It's still a fun cameo piece. This was a ring that I got for $2 at a garage sale. I couldn't believe it. So it's set in 14 karat gold, and you can see the cameo. The thing about this one is that it does not have that contrasting color, so you really have to get in there to see the woman's face. But this is one that's a keeper for me. I got it for $2 at a garage sale. I mean, the setting is really cool. It's just right in there, pronged. Super, super awesome. It's really pretty. All right, here I've got a resin piece. And again, I shared a video down below of how they make some of these resin molds and create the different colors on them. It's pretty interesting. And there are still people who enjoy them. They make laser ones. Sometimes it'll have like an octopus. I mean, they're really fun. This one is a costume piece, and I'm not quite sure what she's made of, but probably, I'm feeling on her. I mean, she almost looks like a hematite, but she's not. When I feel her, she's cold to the touch, but she warms up. And then the back is like so, where it was just glued on. Still fun, still cool, like that. And if you think you know, I would love to know. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any tips or any other hints for how to identify cameos, date them, leave a comment down below, because we're always learning from each other. And definitely check out the comment section, because I learn from you guys, you learn from me. It's a big collaboration. So I hope you picked up some new information about cameos in this video. If you're interested, go over and join us on Facebook at Jewelry Lovers and Sellers, where we share all kinds of information and have new learning themes every month to learn something new about different kinds of jewelry. I hope to see you there, and I will see you on the next one, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.